Hello, everyone. I need to boost this audio up. And then I need to let everyone know we're streaming. Okay. All right, everybody. We are just going to grip it and rip it because there are so many Avatar legendary creatures. So there are, I think, like 60-something Avatar creatures for us to get through. And we have precious little time. And by precious little time, I just mean I want the video this becomes to be somewhat short, somewhat reasonable. So we're just going to go for it. We're just going to go for it, gamers. Can I lock this? Does not look like it. Okay. So first up, we have Aang, the Last Airbender. I'm going to look at him. He is not going into sea. We're just looking at him. Aang, the Last Airbender, costs 4 mana flying. When Aang enters, airbend up to one other target non-land permanent. And whenever you cast a lesson spell, Aang gets lifelink until end of turn. Hey, you know what? I think that is C tier. Airbending is pretty good. It's a way that you can blink more, and there's been a lot of good blink and bouncy support in white as of late. Specifically, you know, airbending. That's a thing. 4 mana is kind of a lot for this. I think if it just had lifelink, that would obviously be better, and I don't think it would be entirely unreasonable for 4 mana for it to just have lifelink. But this is one of those that I think is just going to be better in a draft. But this is one of those that I think is honestly just going to be better in draft if you're building around airbending as you're playing at your local pre-release, which is fun, but it's not a great commander to build around. Next we have Appa Loyal Sky Bison, who is somewhere down here. It is hard to see these cards, and I do apologize for that. There we go. We got him. Let's just put him in C tier for now, and then we can adjust him. I will be reading all of this. Hello, Dragonblade. How you doing? Whenever Appa enters or attacks, choose one of the following. Target creature you control gains flying or airbend another target non-land permanent. I like that this is repeatable airbending. It's limited to permanents you control. You cannot do it to your opponent's stuff, which airbending is also kind of a removal option occasionally. However, 6 mana in mono white, unless you get really lucky and you get that Soul Ring out. Hi, Quinn. Unless you get really lucky and you get your Soul Ring out, this is coming out turn 5. This is slow. And if your gameplay doesn't start until turn 5, that's just not going to do much for you. I think C tier is fine for it. I could definitely see it working, but you got to work to make it work. So I'm putting it in C tier. Now, Appa Steadfast Guardian, I'll put up into B tier. This has got flash, flying. It only costs 4 mana, so it's 2 cheaper than the Loyal Sky Bison for 1 less attack. And whenever it enters, you can airbend any number of other targets and non-land permanents you control. That's a lot better. Now, this is only an enters ability. It isn't an attacks ability, but you're going to be building this with other airbending cards. And whenever you cast a spell from exile, you make a 1/1 white ally creature token, which builds you a nice big board. You obviously don't want to airbend those since they will go away when they are exiled. But you can leave those on board and then build up a big army of little wimpy dudes that swing in, get some Anthem effects in there. I could see this being a lot better than the other Appa which makes sense because it's mythic instead of just uncommon. So yeah, B tier. B for Bison. Who's next? Who's next? Who's next? Hakoda, Selfless Commander. He's got Commander in the name, so that's gotta be S tier. Otherwise, why else are they putting Commander in the name if he shouldn't be your commander? He's got Vigilance. You can look at the top card of your library at any time and cast ally spells from the top of your library. There are quite a few mono-white allies. Then you can also sacrifice them and give creatures you control +0/+5 and indestructible until end of turn. Hey, why are you giving them... Oh my goodness. My only question is, why are you giving them +5 toughness and indestructible? I hate my upstairs neighbors. Why are you giving them +5 and indestructible until end of turn? It's like giving them a bigger butt and then putting that butt on shields. Putting shields on that butt? Why do that? This gives you some good card advantage if you're playing an allies deck, but it doesn't give you a discount, and it doesn't give you any more value when allies come in. I think this is more of a in the 99 of an ally deck. This is more of a in the 99 in the ally deck rather than your ally commander. So that's another C tier. A lot of the C tiers are going to be, this could be better in the 99 of a deck. And while we're dealing with the mono colors, we're going to get a lot of that. That's just going to happen. Monocolor commanders need a lot of spice to justify not having access to a second or third color. Up next, we got Master Pianando. Piando? It's been a minute since I watched Avatar, but I found him. He's going to hang out in B tier for now, but we might move him. He's got first strike. He's a 4/4. Whenever he attacks, look at the top 4 cards of your library. You can reveal an ally equipment or lesson card and put it into your hand. Put the rest onto the bottom of your library in a random order. It does not play those spells for free. It does not play those spells for free. It just puts them into your hand. And I think that's kind of fine, but this is another for the 99. It's only uncommon. It makes sense. Actually, at 5 mana, this is lower than in the 99. This is one that could be in a Commander Precon. That gets cut. 5 mana for that? No. Maybe if it gave you like a discount on allies' equipments or lessons after it attacks, sure. But at 5 mana, you're playing it turn 4 probably. If you're, lucky, maybe you get your Soul Ring out there, you're getting it out earlier. It doesn't get any value when it enters, though. It's only when it attacks. So you still got to wait a turn. You can't really give it haste. I'm not a fan. Not a fan. That one's pretty bad. As a commander, which is what we're ranking these as. Momo, Friendly Flyer. I love a 1 CMC commander. I think they're really fun because you do get to start your strategy right away. So let's look at this one and see if it's any good. It's got flying. The first non-lemur creature spell with flying you cast during each of your turns costs 1 less to cast. There's a lot of flying support in white. Angels fly. Bison fly now. They fly now. Whenever another creature you control with flying enters, Momo gets +1/+1 until end of turn. So if you got some token generation for your angels, or you got something going on like that, Momo could get decently big. Flying is obviously a good type of evasion to swing Momo in and try and get commander damage, but it's only until end of turn. And you only get a discount of 1 colorless mana. That's not helping you out a whole lot. I'd say this is one for the 99 of your bat. This is one for the 99 of the bat kindreds, I think, because it's also a bat. So yeah, but thankfully that we have a different Momo who is also 1 mana, who is somewhere. There we go. Momo Playful Pet. It's got flying and vigilance as a 1/1. And whenever Momo leaves the battlefield, choose one, create a food token, put a +1/+1 on counter. Hey, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Shin. Whenever Momo leaves the battlefield, you can create a food token, put a +1/+1 on target creature you control, or scry 2. Even though this is the uncommon version, I think this is better than the other Momo. I still don't think it's great. It's something you definitely want to have a lot of airbending for, though if you're airbending, it'll then cost 2 mana, so it'll actually cost more bringing it back in than it did to play the first time, unless you get some discounts. Semblance Anvil obviously makes airbending pretty goddamn good. That's an if, though, if you can get Semblance Anvil. It's in Enlightened Tutor colors, so maybe you can grab that. But I'd honestly just put it ahead of other Momo in C tier. Am I ordering the tiers inside the tiers? Yeah, let's do that. Let's put you there, and then you there. I think he's still the worst. Up next, we got Suki. Courageous Rescuer. Other creatures you control get +1/+0. Whenever another permanent you control leaves the battlefield during your turn, create a 1/1 white ally creature token. This ability triggers only once per turn. Only once per turn is the big kicker here. Kind of just stops this from popping off in such a major way. If that caveat wasn't there, I think I would put her a lot higher. But as far as mono white airbending instant speed stuff, I don't know that there's a ton of it. I'm scrolling through here now, and I'm not seeing a ton of it. Am I seeing any of it? I don't know that I'm seeing any instant speed airbending that would let you be able to get this off. Avatars. Okay, we've got airbending lesson. We've got Airbender's Reversal, so 1, 2. Aang's Iceberg would work for it. I guess that Appa would work for it. Is that 4? That's 4 so far. Yeah. No, I don't know that that's all that great, because the other thing that would trigger that is things dying. And don't get me wrong, like, you can do Aristocrats in white. It's harder. It's better in Orzhov. But that, to me, says, welcome to C tier. Welcome to this goes in the 99 of a different deck. Sorry, Suki. R.I.P. Suki forever in our hearts. That's the last of the mono white, I believe. So mono white didn't have the best showing. I would guess most mono colors are not going to have the best showing. That's fine, because now we're on to mono blue, and it's time to talk about Gran. Whenever Gran becomes tapped, you draw a card and then discard a card. Non-creature spells you cast cost 1 less to cast, as long as there are 3 or more lesson cards in your graveyard. So this is dependent on how many lessons there are in mono blue that you can cast. I think when I looked at it, it was around 16. So you would want to discard those, which means you're not actually getting the value of that. It's a loot effect whenever she becomes tapped, which works well with water bending if you want to have some water bending in there. And then the non-creature spells you cast would be artifacts, probably, so that you could get more water bending done. I still think this is a lot of work for a short drink of water. Because she's cheap, though, I'll put her in the middle of C tier, because you can at least start your strategy early. I just don't think the strategy is very good. All right, Katara, Water Bending Prodigy, or just Bending Prodigy? Bending Prodigy. Where are you, Katara? And I'm so sorry. Where is she? Did I not add her? It is fully possible that I missed a card to put in here. Hey, Vellerswood. Welcome on in. That's not her. That's a different Katara. That's a different Katara. There's a bunch of Sagas. I think we missed her. All right, 1 second. Let's see if we can put her in. Nope. That just opened up another tab. How do I add? I don't know how to add. Okay, RIP. She's not gonna be on the official image. So I guess we've just got to talk about it and remember it. Let's just talk about it and remember it. At the beginning of your turn. Okay, can you get rid of that? Thank you. Okay. At the beginning of your end step, if Katara is tapped, put a +1/+1 counter on her. Pretty simple, and then you can waterbend 6 to draw a card. So she's a good waterbending enabler for all of the other waterbending creatures that want to be tapped. There are, again, quite a few of those that have I want to be tapped, please, like Gran. That will give you a little bit of card advantage. However, I just don't see it as that big of a payoff since the most +1/+1 counter she can get is 1, unless you're running that Final Fantasy card that gives you more end steps. In which case, I guess she could get a few +1/+1 counters, starting off as a 2/3 and building up from that. Not all that great. The waterbending enabling to draw 1 card for 6 mana, tapping 6 things or paying 6 mana. I don't know about that. I think that might be a D tier. That one's kinda stinky. It's a little bit stinky, folks. Even for 3 mana, that's just not doing it for me. Sorry. I think there are other Kataras that will be good later. Master Paku is up next with prowess, and whenever you cast a non-creature spell, this creature gets +1/+1 until end of turn. Whenever Master Paku becomes tapped, you mill. Whenever Master Paku becomes tapped, target player mills X cards, where X is the number of lessons in your graveyard. Again, I did the math on that. That's about 15, 16, I think. He's going to go down here. I think he's pretty bad. I think he's still better than that guy, though. If it was each player mills X cards, where X is the number of lessons in your graveyard, that would be better. You can spice this up with Brewvac. You can spice this up with the Water Crystal from the Final Fantasy set to double that up to make sure people are milling more cards. But all of the mono blue lessons, if that's your strategy, it's not looking great. It's looking kind of rough. And let's scroll this back up so you can see the S tier that remains empty as we move through here, because the mono colors are not bringing it, and Master Paku certainly is not bringing it. It's uncommon. What do we expect? Now, finally, we've got one that I think kind of cooks a little bit. I'm going to put this guy up in the A tier. It's the Mechanist, Aerial Artisan. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, create a clue token, and you can tap him to make an artifact a 3/1 construct artifact creature with flying that's an artifact token, like the clues that he would create. This is Urza Laundering. Mono blue artifacts is a solid commander playstyle. This would be a decent option, and I think it wouldn't scare people like Urza does, which is why I call it Urza Laundering. Because you have Urza in the 99, he's no longer a game changer, so you can play this at lower brackets and use your clue tokens to get card advantage to find Urza, or just get a bunch of artifact discounts, play some really, really good artifacts, get clue tokens out, get affinity going. There's a lot of stuff you can do by just making a lot of clues that doesn't even count using the clues for the card advantage, just having the tokens. I think it can be solid. Making one of them a 3/1 construct artifact creature is fine. It's not super exciting. You could maybe try and run some intruder alarm shenanigans to get that going a little bit better so that you can do it a bunch. But I just think he's a sneaky little way to play artifacts in mono blue that won't scare the table, so you can kind of stay under the radar until, whoops, you're doing a lot of the same stuff Urza does without the mana cheating, which is, you know, the best part of Urza, but you're still getting a lot of value. So I think, yeah, A tier. You could definitely do some stuff with that. Up next, Teo, Spirited Glider, has flying. Whenever one or more creatures with flying attack draw a card, then discard a card. When you discard a non-land card this way, put a +1/+1 on target creature you control. For 4 mana, once per turn you can loot and get a +1/+1 counter. That kind of stinks. There's so many easier ways to loot than this, and the value you get from that, like, just compare this to Malcolm. You know, just compare this to Malcolm with the chorus counters, and that's so much better for 2 mana, and it has flash. It's so much better that there's no reason for you to run this instead of Malcolm if you want a looter in the command zone, or you want flying even in the command zone. 1/4 with flying. God. Yeah, that's rough stuff. That's rough, buddy. You know what? We're officially changing the name of D tier to That's Rough, Buddy. C tier will be 99. B tier, Bison. A tier, Avatar State. S tier, S tier. Mamma mia, mamma mia. All right. Ty Lee, G blocker. She's got flash. She's got prowess. Whenever she enters, tap up to 1 target creature. It doesn't untap during its controller's untap step for as long as you control Ty Lee. So she shuts down 1 creature. Shutting down 1 creature is all right. I would say you could blink her, but when you blink her, whoever she had tapped will then get to untap because you'll not be in control of her when she is in exile. So a 2/1 with prowess that taps 1 thing as it comes in, to me that says 99 of something like a Hilda. Let's see, who is it better than? I think it's better than the first Momo. Yeah, I think I'd put her there. Once we get out of these blues, once we get out of these mono colors, we'll see some more interesting cards. I promise. I don't think this set is bad. I think the set's good, and I think it's really fun to draft. I'm really excited to do draft S tier Kyoshi approved. Okay, I'm good with that. I'll capitalize the S. That's what the S tier in S tier stands for. Kyoshi approved. Next up, we've got the Unagi of Kyoshi Island. It's got flash. It's got ward waterbend 4, so if anybody wants to fuck with it, they've got a waterbend 4, kind of a high ward cost. Whenever an opponent draws their 2nd card each turn, you draw 2 cards. It's kind of Fairy Mastermind in the command zone for a lot more mana, but you also draw more cards. I don't know that 5 mana is quite worth that effect. But card draw is good. I think I can put it up in B tier for Bison. You know, you get Howling Mine in there, and then suddenly you're drawing 8 cards per turn cycle. That's not bad. I'm not going to say that's bad. There's a lot of other cards that benefit from you drawing a lot of cards. Psychosis Crawler comes to mind that would really like Unagi. I think it's something that could work. I think that's a solid B for Bison tier. Certainly not the best, but it's certainly not the best just because it does encourage you to give your opponent's card advantage as well to get them to draw 2 cards per turn. But overall, not bad. Now I'm going to put Wan Shi Tong Librarian up in Avatar state, not in Kyoshi approved. Do I want to put it up in Kyoshi approved? Because Wan Shi Tong, here's the deal with Wan Shi Tong. Wan Shi Tong is all about how good your opponent's decks are. It's got Flash, Flying, Vigilance. When it enters, you put X +1/+1 counters on him and then draw half of X cards rounded down. Whenever an opponent searches their library, you put a +1/+1 on Wan Shi Tong and you get to draw a card. If you're playing in high-level commander games where everybody's using fetch lands, that's a +1/+1 and a free card every time someone uses a fetch land. It's a +1/+1 and a drawn card every time someone tutors for something. That's really, really good. And I think up in like an EDH deck, this is really solid. Also worth noting, X could be 0. You could just pay this for 2 blue mana and then start getting card advantage if someone is going to be searching their library. Just slap this down in response. Boom, you've drawn a card. You get a +1/+1 counter, and now it's on the board forever. It's got good evasion with flying. It's got vigilance, so it can swing in without having to worry about losing it as a blocker. I'll put it up in Kyoshi approved, just because we're hurting for those, and this could be a really solid mono blue punishment for everyone else who's playing a high-level deck, so that you just get so much card advantage and can play a really mean game where you are always drawing counter spells, you're always drawing all of your interaction and drawing a bunch of stuff that gives you more value for your card advantage. So yeah, I think that's Kyoshi approved. I think that's going to be our first Kyoshi approved S tier commander. Yue the Moon Spirit. Hello, Yue. Flying, Vigilance, Waterbend 5, and a tap. You can cast a non-creature spell from your hand without paying its mana cost. She's 4 mana. She costs 4 mana. 4 mana is pretty reasonable for a commander. And then Waterbend 5, if you can just generate some tokens, this becomes really, really good and gives you a free non-creature spell from your hand every turn cycle. That could be paid for free, leaving your mana up to cast counter spells. There is a lot of very good non-creature spells that there's a lot of really good non-creature spells. Omniscience is a non-creature spell that then makes everything else totally free because you had 5 creatures plus artifacts on the board. You just get Omniscience now, and you've still got all of your islands untapped because you just paid that cost by tapping your creatures, so you can still counterspell if people try to counterspell your Omniscience. Yeah, I think Yue the Moon Spirit is up in the Avatar state. It might take a little bit to build around, and once you start casting stuff for free, it freaks people out and makes you the target. The non-creature restriction also kind of shuts it down a little bit. Like, you can't be flashing out Eldrazi with this, but you can flash stuff, actually, now that I'm looking at it. But you can flash stuff with this, now that I'm looking at it. I believe that is how waterbending works, which is also really good. You don't have to do it on your turn. As far as I know, correct me if I'm wrong, maybe I am wrong about how waterbending works, but I'm pretty sure that's how it works. I'd say she is Avatar state. Maybe even Kyoshi approved. Yeah, fudge it. Kyoshi approved. I like Yue. Oh, by the way, a lot of these cards are going to get a bump in their tier if I just like the character. Whatever. I don't claim to be an unbiased source. Azula is on the hunt, S tier, because it's Azula. Just kidding. She's got Firebending too, and whenever she attacks, you lose 1 life and create a clue token. That Firebending is great for paying clue costs. Making a clue and having her attack to get the clue is not great because it can only happen once per turn unless you're getting extra combats. Extra combats, harder to get in mono black. So to me, this is saying I'm for the 99. I still think it's better than those two. What are you doing? So why is Suki so low in C tier? Suki should at least be up here. Yeah. Yeah, we'll put her kind of low in the 99. In the 99 of the right deck, I think Azula could pop off. But this Azula could pop off at least. But I think as the commander in mono black, especially like these mono, there's a few mono black cards that have firebending, which gives you red mana. But if it's a mono black commander, you can't actually run it Rakdos style just because of how rules work. And I don't think that's all that great. It's maybe not as restrictive as it seems. You can still use it to pay for clues and stuff like that. But it's definitely not as good as getting mana in your color. Would be. That'd be a lot better. If when we get to the mono red cards that have firebending, I think they work better than the mono black cards with firebending. My next favorite commander creature is the Fire Nation Drill, which is a legendary vehicle, but that can be your commander now. It's got 6 power, 3 toughness, and whenever it enters, you can tap it to destroy target creature with power 4 or less. It also has the Shadow Spear ability to make your opponent's permanents lose hexproof and indestructible until end of turn. I'll say 6-3 trample on a 4-4. I'll say 6-3 trample on 4 mana isn't bad. Crew 2 is pretty cheap. You can crew that with some smaller little tokens that you build. And then you can just run a really mean removal deck that doesn't care about whether or not stuff's hexproof or indestructible. There's so many mean mono black cards that kill stuff. And yeah, I think this is kind of a solid commander. Not the best. There's probably better options, but if you really just want to do some silly stuff, yeah, card pointing out Dark Confidant has 2 power. So if you just want to rock staple Dark Confidant and have him drive the Fire Nation Drill, more power to you. I think it's funny to have a vehicle as your commander. 6-3 with trample ain't bad. You can make it bigger. It'd be better if it had green. It'd be better if this was Gruul or if this was Rakdos, because I think red and green would give it more options to make it bigger. But as it stands, I think it's all right. I think you could make a silly little deck that people don't see coming and then drill them. I'll put it in Bison. B for Bison. June Bounty Hunter is somewhere here. I think she is somewhere in here. June! Oh, she was the first one. Okay. June goes up in S tier because I like evil women. No. We can't do that just for all the evil women. June can't be blocked as long as you've drawn 2 or more cards this turn, and you can sacrifice another creature, pay 1 to create a clue token, activate only during your turn. Here's the thing. I think this is pretty all right for an uncommon. I don't think it's all that great, though. So, becoming unblockable is good, but on a 2/2 body, You've got to Voltron it up in order to make her bigger. Not Not that Voltroning it up is all that hard. She's also got a pretty easy sack outlet, which in black you'll get a lot of value from, and you get value from it by getting a clue token as well. Something you can only do on your turn, but I think you could get some spice out of June. Do I think she has more spice than the drill? Yes, I do, because she's an uncommon. And because she's an uncommon and 2 mana, and I can actually see a path to making her a decent deck. Again, this is not the greatest deck ever. This is just something that can play and win because people underestimate it. B for Bison. Come here. Come on up. Ko, the Face Stealer. Boy, there's a lot of text on this one, but let's get through it. When Ko enters, exile up to 1 other target creature. When another non-token creature dies, you can exile it. Then you can pay 1 life to choose a creature card exiled with Ko, and Ko has all activated and triggered abilities of the last chosen card. This is probably the strongest commander we have looked at so far. It costs 6 mana. That's a lot, but the effect it has is so darn good. I'm not putting it in Kyoshi because this is a card that screams, I am threatening to everyone at the table. It has no ward or sense of protection. Babe, your hands are knives. We're going to flip you upside down so you stop stabbing me. Ironically, this is being held back from S tier because it's kind of too good. Also at 6 mana, it's going to take you a minute to get it out. Dark Ritual obviously helps, but I don't want anyone in the comments saying Dark Ritual, Soul Ring. Yeah, I'm aware Dark Ritual and Soul Ring are good cards, but if you don't get them in your hand, this is coming out turn 5. Mono black. It ain't green. It ain't great at rampant other than Dark Ritual. So I'm going to say it's an avatar state. It's pretty neat, but it's pretty neat, but it makes you a threat in a way that's just a little too threatening. So I'm putting it in an avatar state. I'll put it above I'll put it above the Clue Man, though. Since it should be up in Kyoshi, I'm just docking it because I know how actual games of Commander go. In actual games of Commander, if you say, I am playing the Face Stealer, everyone is going to try and stop you. You'll become the villain. Lo and Lee, Twin Tutors. When Lo and Lee enter, search your library for a lesson or noble card, reveal it, put it into your hand, and then shuffle. Noble creatures you control and lesson spells you control have lifelink. How many mono black lessons deal damage that would benefit from lifelink? I think it's less than 3. And hey, I guess you'll be able to get those into your hand for the 5 mana you spent on this. I'm guessing this is here because you're trying to make a non-legendary noble your commander. You want to treat a non-legendary noble as your commander. And I guess that's fine. But boy howdy, for 5 mana, tutoring up 1 specific creature type or 1 sorcery instant type that there isn't a ton of representation for in mono black, that's rough, buddy. This is the worst commander so far, in my opinion. It's just kind of bad. I just think it's, yeah, I don't even think it's good in the 99. I think it kind of stinks. Speaking of nobles, we have my Scornful Striker. Is it Mai or May? Can someone correct me in the comments? In the chat right now? It's been a minute since I watched Avatar. I want to say it's Mai. That sounds more right. Mai has first strike, and whenever a player casts a non-creature spell, they lose 2 life. Mai, that's what I thought. Thank you, fan of things. This is a 99 one. It's a really good 99 one, though. I'll put it up there. It's a stacks piece, and the value of it comes when other people are casting non-creature spells. I don't ever think you should play commander and play with your commander intent on what other people are going to do. Because if you pull this out at a table with a bunch of green players who are just playing creatures, she ain't doing anything. In fact, she's doing things to you because you're the one losing life. Now, I do think she works especially great in like a Rowan Scion of War deck where you want to lose life, because now every time you cast a non-creature spell, this is symmetrical. It hits you too. You're losing life, and with Rowan, that's a good thing because that's a bigger discount for your spells. On a Rowan as the commander, suddenly you don't want to run non-creature spells in mono black because you'll die. That's not great. But in the 99, I think she's probably the best of the cards we've got in the 99 category, in the 99 of a lot of different decks. It's just a black stacks piece. It's pronounced May in the show? Okay. So we got May, Scornful Striker, first strike, and whenever a player casts a non-creature spell, they lose 2 life. Cool, now I have a clean read on it. There we go. I got the clean read on it. That's all that matters. Is that it for our mono black friends? I think it is. Up next, we have Combusting Man. Oh my god. Whenever Combusting Man attacks, I'm going to stop. Whenever Combustion Man attacks, destroy target permanent. Unless its controller has Combustion Man, deal damage to them equal to his power. Interesting note, it's target permanent, not target permanent defending player controls. So in a game of Commander, if this guy is your commander, you can swing it at him. You can swing him at someone who doesn't have blockers, so he gets through and you don't have to worry about it. It's also an attacks trigger, not a combat damage trigger. And then point at someone else and say, I'm going to blow that up. Do you want to take 4 damage? This is solid. This, I think, is our new King of the Avatar state, especially at uncommon. 5 mana, kind of expensive. 5 mana is kind of expensive, but... Oh, what's the spell called? Oh my god. Oh my god. Seething Song, what is it? Oh yeah, also... A fan of things, thank you for pointing this out. Funny Voltron Commander. Yeah, the bigger you make him, the more deadly that all is. This is really solid, and you can actually get 5 red mana pretty fast. You know, treasures are a good ramp in red. Red, I think, has better ramp than the last 3 colors we talked about. Maybe black. Black also gets treasures. What am I talking about? But I think this is a solid sleeper commander that you can bust in and then just start busting all over the board, because combustion makes you feel good. Right card? There's a lot of great cards. I quite like it, actually. Up next, we've got Zhong Zhong, the Deserter, Firebending 1 with an exhaust ability where you put a +1/+1 counter on Zhong Zhong, and whenever you cast a lesson spell, you get to copy it. That's going in 99, and that's going in the bottom of 99. Firebending 1, that's fine. That's a... Firebending 1 is fine, but Firebending 1 on a 2/2 with no evasion. But Firebending 1 on a 2/3 with no evasion or protection isn't all that great. The exhaust ability lets you copy 1 lesson, and there are some cool mono red lessons. I went through the lessons and saw there's a few that I don't hate that could be pretty good. Price of Freedom's fun. Solstice Revelations would be fun. But I'm not gonna put him in. But I'm not gonna put him any higher than in the 99 for an exhaustibility you can do once. If you're looking to copy instants and sorceries, there's so many better commanders to do that, and they give you more colors. Like blue, you need blue for that. Red has become much more of the I'm going to copy that instant and sorcery color, but blue definitely still has options, and you're just kind of wasting your slot if you don't rock the blue. If you don't back the blue. May Jaded Edge. Is this May better than the other May as a commander? Yeah. Oh, who does she remind me of? Oh, Shu Yun. That's who it is. She kind of reminds me of Shu Yun, who's a Jeskai option for your commander. Both of them have prowess and a way to get to double strike. She's cheaper to get on the board than Shu Yun, but more expensive to get double strike, but the double strike is permanent. She's also got prowess, so you can spell sling. But I gotta put her down. I gotta put her down lower. Maybe not all that low into the 99. Because she's mono red, and mono red prowess is a lot worse than Jeskai prowess or Izzet prowess. You can get a lot more done when you add more colors, particularly blue, because that's the card draw color. And what you'll miss out on here is the card draw specifically. Obviously, you're going to want to run Stormkiln Artist. Stormkiln Artist? God, why am I forgetting the names of every card? Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, right? Yeah. Obviously, you'll want to run Stormkiln Artist with this to get a bunch of treasures so that you can get effectively mana neutral cantrips. And there are some cantrips in mono red, but you're gonna run out probably by not being in blue. Yeah, there's just better options if you want a prowess commander. So I think she's fine in that commander's deck as like sort of a backup commander, but you want someone who's going to give you access to blue, the card draw color. Ran and Shaw. I think this can go up into the Avatar state. It's got flying and firebending too. When it enter, if you cast them and there are 3 or more dragon and or lesson cards, so I think that's 3 total lessons and dragons combined, I believe. Since it's and or, you get to create a token copy, so you'd get 2 4/4 dragons, and each of them has firebending too. And then they have a fire breathing ability where dragons you control get +2/+0 by paying 4 mana. Something that you could hopefully do with a bunch of firebending. That's something that spending firebending would be great for, is getting this ability to activate. And there's a lot of good mono red dragons that you could run. I think this could be a fun way to run dragons if you love dragons. And hey, imagine dragons in Fortnite. Not much more to say about that one. You know what? I will say some more stuff about that. Red also has options to temporarily copy creatures, so you could make a copy of the non-legendary token of Ran and Shaw to have 3 dragons or 4 dragons, depending on how many dragons you can imagine, that all get that spicy firebending ability. I think you can have a lot of fun with this one. I don't think it's quite Kyoshi approved, but it's definitely solid. Solid enough for the Avatar state, and better than Clue Man. Tai Lee. Artful Acrobat. Another prowess commander. Whenever she attacks, you can pay 1. When you do, target creature can't block this turn. So, very good note. I'm going to pull this off. A Fan of Things also pointed out, they're also a solid dragon for other dragon decks. So definitely could be down in this 99 as a 99 to add, but I think they can also be run on their own with some other mono red dragons. Ty Lee, Artful Acrobat, Prowess. It's another Prowess commander. Whenever she attacks, you can pay 1. When you do, target creature can't block this turn. Another thing I didn't mention with Red May here, hi, Red May, is that blue also gives you ways to get unblockable. There's a lot of blue cheap instants that make your creatures unblockable until end of turn, which helps you get in with your Prowess commander to win with commander damage. So I do think Ty Lee as a commander would probably be better than May. I still think Prowess commander, if you're running mono red, you're not getting everything that you could, and this is more of a throw it into the 99 of Shu Yun or other Prowess commanders, like one we'll talk about later down here in the line. Because there's a really good one in the set. Holy crap, there's a really good one in the set. Zhao, the Moonslayer. They put Blood Moon in the command zone. He's a 2/2 with Menace, non-basic lands enter tapped, and you can pay 7 mana to put a Conqueror counter on Zhao. You can activate that at instant speed, so it's a great way to spend your firebending mana, and it turns all non-basic lands into mountains, which is Blood Moon, which is really mean to do, which is why it can't be in the Avatar state, because much like our pal Sneaky Face Magoo here, it's going to be a huge target for removal. Also, I think I'd consider it mass land denial, which means if you want this guy to be your commander, I think you have to play a higher bracket. So, because of that, he's down in the 99 as like a second Blood Moon to run in your mono red deck if you really want to run Blood Moon and run mass land denial. Maybe I'm wrong about how the brackets work and that wouldn't count as mass land denial. I feel like it's mass land denial. Like, that's the point of it, is to fuck over people's... I think the point of it is to fuck over people's lands. He's fine. And yes, okay. So Card is confirming he is considered mass land denial. So yeah, he can go in the 99 of your mono red deck where you want to screw people over and screw over their lands. But I don't think he's all that great, because he does have to go in higher bracket decks. And at higher bracket deck, are you gonna really want to put 7 mana into an ability? Like 9 mana to get him to become Blood Moon. When, how much mana is Blood Moon? Is it 3? What's the mana cost on Blood Moon? 3, yeah. So you could just pay 3 mana for Blood Moon, or you could use this and pay 9 mana for Blood Moon. Wow. Zuko, Exiled Prince. I'm putting him up in the Avatar state because I feel like I could use him instead of Iraxa, which is one of my favorite commanders from the Doctor Who set. It's an uncommon that makes you a alien soldier every time you play something from exile, and this helps you play things from exile. I think I could swap him in to that deck, and it would play really well. That deck plays with higher bracket stuff without having a ton of higher bracket cards. It's got a Jessica's Will in there. So Zuko, I think, could cook. And especially at an uncommon, this is something that's really fun if you just want to impulse draw. He pays for his own impulse draw, or he can pay for an instant or sorcery, something else is impulse drawed for you in the deck. Probably better in the 99. You know what? Maybe I should put him down in Bison. No, I know you can make this work. I know you can make this work for 4 mana. I know for a fact you can make this work, and that is Avatar State. I'll put it at the bottom of Avatar State, though, because it probably is better in the 99 of, well, Zuko. But we'll talk about Zuko, and right now we're talking about Zuko. So I don't want to talk about Zuko until we get to Zuko. Let's just talk about Zuko for now. And Zuko is in the Avatar State. That's a deck that can run pretty good. You're building an Omnath deck. Do you have any idea how little that narrows it down, Snake? Meme. That's just a meme that I was doing. I'm not mad at you. The Boulder! Ready to rumble. Whenever the Boulder attacks Earthbend X, where X is the number of creatures you control with power 4 or greater, which means that if you get 4 creatures with power 4 or greater in your mono green deck, you increase the amount that you are earthbending each time. It's mono green big stompy. It'll work. Avatar state. Is it better than other mono green big stompies? No. Is it all that much worse? Also no. This one would probably have a bit more of a lands focus, but every mono green big stompy focuses on getting lands anyway, because that's how you pay. Because that's how you pay for your big stompy. So yeah, Avatar State. We're going to see a lot of these mono green ones, I think, hit Avatar State simply because they say do big stompy, and green is good at doing big stompy. So yeah. Boomy, king of the 3 trials. When Boomy enters, choose up to X, where X is the number of lesson cards in your graveyard. You can put 3 +1/+1 counters on Boomy. Target player scries 3, Earthbend 3. He costs 6 mana, and in mono green, that means you can probably get him out turn 3 or 4. But still, if I'm paying 6 mana, and I need to have lessons in my graveyard to get this enters ability one time, that enters ability needs to be really good. Boomy does not have trample. So even if you get him those +3/+3 counters, he's getting chumped. Mono green can give trample, but that's more stuff you need to do. Card, thank you so much. There are 22 lessons in mono green color identity. I'm not saying it's all that hard to get 3 lessons into your graveyard. I'm saying I don't know that it's all that good, even if you get all 3 modes, if you paid 6 mana for this. And quite frankly, if I was running, I don't know, Teamer lesson deck, I don't even know that I would put this 6 mana thing into the 99. I think Boomy, king of the 3 trials, that's rough, buddy. The Earth King is Kiyoshi approved. When the Earth King enters, create a 4/4 bear token. It's just a bear. Whenever 1 or more creatures you control with power 4 or greater attack, search your library for up to that many basic land cards and put them onto the battlefield tapped and shuffle. It's big stompy that helps you big stompy by making more lands. I don't know if you know about this thing called landfall, but landfall is a busted strategy because landfall is protected by the bracket system. Remember Zhao and how he has to be so low because he's mass land denial? Well, guess what? If your deck revolves around doing a ton of lands, you are protected in lower brackets. So, lower brackets, I mean, my channel, if you're new here, hi, welcome. Most of the people who are watching my channel, I think, play more low to mid brackets, and I think Earth King crushes in there. And yes, thank you, a fan of things. This is also on attack, not combat damage, which means they just have to swing, and then you get to put more lands out. Putting more lands out also thins your deck of lands, which means that you get to draw more spells that are big stompy creatures and not draw lands. So yeah, I think the Earth King, I think he's Kiyoshi approved and probably the best end-to-end bracket commander. I'm putting him above Wan Chi-Tong because he works in low brackets, and I think you could honestly make him work in high brackets. Having a ton of green mana in your big green stompy deck is really good. Run a bunch of earthbenders to turn those lands into creatures. Get landfall triggers. The deck kinda builds itself. So Earth King, really solid. Kiyoshi approved. Fantastic. Flopsy, Boomy's buddy. When Flopsy enters, put a +1/+1 on each creature you control. Each creature you control with power 4 or greater can't be blocked by more than one creature. I don't think this is terrible. As far as enters abilities goes, this is pretty good. I'm assuming you're getting this out on turn 4 or 5 since you're mono green. I just have to assume that you have a proper amount of ramp in your deck. And with that proper amount of ramp, you could also be playing other creatures leading up to that. So you could get some value from that. But to me, this is a 99. This is something to put in your big green stompy deck so that your big stompy things can get through and stomp on things that are probably smaller than them that have to block them so that they can get in again next combat. Don't think it's terrible. I'll maybe put it up higher. I'll put it behind Appa in the 99 tier. But it's definitely not as good as a commander as it would just be in a big stompy thing. So true, Snake. Yeah, if your deck is mono green and doesn't have 10 mana by turn 5, what are you even doing? Haru, Hidden Talent. Whenever another ally you control enters, Earthbend 1. That's it. It's mono green allies, and those get you lands that are 1/1s. So 29 allies in mono green card. Thank you so much for having this ready to go. Even if you're getting an ally out every turn, that's not all that great. This would be decent in an earthbending themed deck, but on its own, I think it's a 99, and I think it's one of the worst 99 ones we have so far. Toph, the Blind Bandit. When she enters, she earthbends 2, and Toph's power is equal to the number of +1/+1 counters on lands you control. Unfortunately, no trample, no evasion, so you have to figure out how to do that. It's mono green. It's not all that hard, but this is where this is good in the 99. I'll put her up in Bison. There's a lot of different earthbending tools you can use in mono green to, I think, make her power pretty huge. I definitely don't think she's the best Toph, though, and probably at the bottom of Bison, and maybe even should be in the 99 for other Toph deck. But I think you could make something kind of spicy with this. It's 3 mana. She's pretty cheap. Plus, if she dies, that's actually not that bad of a thing, because you can just recast her and then earthbend again to make her stronger when she comes in. Yeah, I'm confident putting her in Bison. We'll put her here. We'll put her in the middle of Bison. Hey, Auden, how you doing? Welcome on in. Now it's time. It's time. We're finally into multicolored commanders, which means it's time to read so much text. Aang at the Crossroads is Bont. It's got flying. When he enters, look at the top 5 cards of your library. You can put a creature card, mana value 4 or less from among them onto the battlefield, which means even though he costs 5, but you get something worth something. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. When another creature you control leaves the battlefield, airbending. Transform Aang at the beginning of your next step, and to the other side is flying, and land creatures you control have vigilance at the beginning of combat on your turn, earthbend 2. So he's kind of an earthbender and an airbender, because I think this is from the Earth book. You know, we have a bunch of different Aangs, and all of the different Aangs are from a different book of Avatar. Do they scale up? No, they don't. I was wondering if they scaled up from common, uncommon, rare, mythic, but no. It looks like they scale up from Uncommon, book 1, and then they also add colors every time. That's interesting. That's great. I love the flavor of that. Do I love this card? Let's see. What's the other side of it do again? 4/4 land creatures you control have vigilance. It's fine. You've got green in the deck, so you should be able to ramp it out, get it out turn 3, turn 4, something like that. It does give you extra value by looking at the top 5 cards of your library, and you can put a creature card in there. So you want to run creatures. Probably earthbending creatures and airbending creatures. It's fine. I think it's Bison. I don't think it's all that great. I think I'll still put it ahead of Toph. But if you're looking to run an Aang, the other side of this isn't tremendously exciting to me. Like, flipping it over doesn't make me feel all that. Like, doesn't give me all that much. Land creatures you control have vigilance. Okay. So they can swing in and then I can still tap them for mana. I guess that's nice. It's just, compared to some other Aangs we're going to get to, I think it's definitely an improvement over this Aang, Last Airbender, but I don't think it's all that special. Swift Savior, though. Let's talk about that. It's got flash, it's got flying when it enters airbend up to one other creature or spell, which means since it has flash, you can effectively use this as a sort of stally counter spell. It's not going to get rid of it forever, but it'll get rid of it for 1 turn. Then you can Waterbend 8 to transform it and get Reach and Trample. And whenever Aang and La attack, put a +1/+1 counter on each tapped creature you control. So you Waterbend 8, you tap a bunch of creatures, and they each get +1/+1. This is the Aang you want to run with Waterbending. And I also think it's fine. I think it's better than Aang at the Crossroads. I like the other side of it more than Aang Destined Savior, I think. I'd say so. Doesn't have as much evasion, doesn't have flying, but it does have trample. Trample's pretty darn good, too. So I think I'd put it ahead of that Aang, but it's still not the spicy Aang. And let's talk about the spicy Aang, because spicy Aang is obviously Kyoshi approved. Gotta quit smoking. So, Avatar Aang, it's got flying, it's got firebending too. Whenever you waterbend, earthbend, firebend, or airbend, draw a card. Then, if you've done all 4 this turn, transform Aang. Then, if you've done all 4 this turn, transform Avatar Aang. The flip side of this card is the silly part. It makes spells you cast cost Wooburg less to cast. It's got flying, it's a 6/6, and at the beginning of each upkeep, you can transform it to gain 4 life, draw 4 cards, and put 4 +1/+1 counters on Aang, then deal 4 damage to each opponent. I am aware Moon Mist exists, and that makes it easy to flip if you have Moon Mist. If you don't have Moon Mist, it's kind of hard to flip. On the other hand, I don't think you need to flip it for it to be a really good card. Whenever you waterbend, earthbend, firebend, or airbend, you get to draw a card. That is a ton of card advantage, especially considering it has firebending 2 stapled onto it. So at its very worst, if you have not been able to waterbend, earthbend, or airbend, you get 2 mana and draw a card whenever this flying 4/4 attacks you paid 4 mana for. That's not bad. Then, if you do have waterbending, you do have earthbending, or you do have airbending, you get to draw another card. Again, even if you don't hit the hat trick and get all 4 off, it's still pretty damn good. If you do get them off, which there are definitely repeatable airbendings, repeatable waterbendings, repeatable firebendings, repeatable earthbendings that you could hit, transforming him is fantastic. You get a huge discount to your spells, and at the beginning of the upkeep, you can flip them over. Now you have an 8/8 with flying and firebending too, where you get 2 mana and draw a card every time it attacks. Fantastic. When you flip him over, those counters stay on him. The counters are on the permanent, so he becomes a 10/10 again. you can definitely get a lot of value from this. This is still a really solid card, and I want to applaud it for, I think, being the most interesting version of the we need to make a Wooburg card for these Universes Beyond decks so everybody can play all of their cards. Because, one, I get what it's doing. It's saying he's the Avatar. He needs to master all 4 elements to enter the Avatar state. He enters the Avatar state. And yeah, like, I get why it has all of that. I don't necessarily know why it needs black mana, because I think that the 4 elements are represented fine without black mana. That's my one critique for the card, but there's some really good firebending and there's some good waterbending options in black, so yeah, sure, that's fine. Overall, though, I don't necessarily think you even need to flip it for this to be good, and if you do flip it, it's fantastic. So yeah, comparing it to Cosmic Spider and the Ninja Turtles shit, I really like this 5-color. We wanted to put a Wooburg in so you could Wooburg, so you could woo your burg. This is my favorite one they've done. I'll put it up in Kiyoshi approved. I think it's a fantastic card. Azula, Cunning Usurper, Firebending 2. She costs 5 mana, and that's really the killer here. I guess we'll talk about it, but it's 5 mana and an Enters ability. Whenever she enters, target opponent exiles a non-token creature they control, then they exile a non-land card from their graveyard. You don't get to pick. They get to pick. And they're going to pick the worst option for you. They're not going to pick the best option for you. During your turn, you can cast cards exiled with Azula, and you may cast them as though they have flash. Mana of any type can be spent to cast those cards, so you have something to use your firebending for. You can use that for the stealing. But at 5 mana, like, you're going to need to blink her in and out to get value so that you're actually getting those cards exiled so that you can do something with her firebending. You can run the other Azula in here so that you can get more firebending in mono black. But overall, I think she's a 99. God, I might even put her in a That's Rough Buddy. Because it's 5 mana and it's an Enters ability. There's so much text on there. I feel like it should be better. But it doesn't even give you... It doesn't even give you a discount on the spells you're casting. I guess it makes it easier since you can cast them with any color of mana, but I don't know. I think she might be That's Rough Buddy. We'll put her at the lower end of 99. Because I don't know. I guess I also don't know what 99 she goes in. Probably like a Gonti or something like that wants to steal a bunch of shit. I guess she's decent. Yeah, she's decent in the 99 of wanting to steal a bunch of shit decks. So I think that's okay. I think she's okay in the 99. Is she at 5 mana though? No, I'm sorry. That's rough, buddy. I love Azula. If I had my druthers, every Azula would be up in S tier. But no. Sorry. Sometimes your childhood crush turns into a mediocre Magic the Gathering card. Boomy Unleashed, welcome to fucking Kiyoshi approved tier. Boomy Unleashed, Kiyoshi approved, for sure. Trample, when Boomy enters Earthbend 4, whenever Boomy deals combat damage to a player, untap all lands you control. After this phase, there is an additional combat phase. Only land creatures can attack this phase. Worst case scenario, you're untapping all your lands every time Boomy attacks. 5 mana in Gruul. He's coming out turn 3, turn 4. You should get him out pretty quick. And then you can start doming people and your lands are going to become bent. You're probably running him with other Earthbenders. Yeah, this is a very solid Gruul commander. If only because it untaps all of your lands after your combat phase. But if you also have Earthbent them all up and they're ginormous lands, it gets even better and you can swing in with your lands and have free extra combat steps. So I think Boomy Unleashed, very solid. Kiyoshi approved for sure. Firelord Azula. Let's go. She made it to S tier. Kiyoshi approved. Fire Lord Azula has firebending too, and whenever you cast a spell while she is attacking, you get to copy that spell and choose new targets for that copy. This is what I'm talking about. This is the kind of thing I'm looking for. I love Grixis copy stuff. The commander I hardly know, spoilers everybody, the commander I hardly know for Grixis is going to be copy and spells, and Azula is kind of that, but way better than the commander I'm using for that episode. So yeah, just being able to get a bunch of firebenders together and then start chain casting and popping off with a bunch of instants that get copied. And guess what? You can run spells that copy spells and copy those spells to copy more spells. Stormkiln Artist makes you a treasure every time you cast or copy a spell. It does not have to be a fresh spell. It is cast or copy, which means you can go mana positive by copying the spells. Archmage Emeritus, copy or cast, you're drawing a card. So the spell slinging you can do with this will get so disgusting. This is fantastic. I love this, and I love that Azula does have a Kyoshi approved S tier design, so I don't have to feel bad about putting my childhood crush in That's Rough Buddy or the 99 category twice. I actually just put her in the 99 category. No, I did put her in That's Rough Buddy. I did. Oh, started from the bottom. Now we here. So true. Fire Lord Zuko, Kyoshi approved. Hey, remember how when we were talking about Zuko, I said we couldn't talk about Zuko until we were done talking about Zuko, but I really wanted to talk about Zuko instead of talking about Zuko? Well, now we can talk about Zuko. Fire Lord Zuko is sick. Firebending X, where X is the Fire Lord Zuko's power. Whenever you cast a spell from exile, and whenever a permanent you control enters from exile, put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. What does this mean? What does it mean? It means that Fire Lord Zuko has chilled out with Aang and now is best friends with the Airbenders. Airbending, if you airbend, you're casting a spell from exile and a permanent is entering from exile. So that's 2 +1/+1 counters on every creature you control, including Zuko, boosting up his firebending so you can do some disgusting shit with your firebending and cast a bunch of instants that exile the top of your library and then cast those spells with the firebending mana. I love it. I love this. It's so Mardu too. It's so we're here to go fast and we're going to exile the top of our library. We're going to airbend our creatures. We're going to zoom is zoomies. Zuko's got the zoomies. Call him Zoomko, because this is fantastic. I really like this one. This is Kyoshi approved for sure. And don't worry, I'm not just putting all of the multicolored ones into Kyoshi approved, because now we got Guru Pathik. Whenever Guru Pathik enters, look at the top 5 cards of your library. You can reveal a Lesson, Saga, or Shrine card from among them, put them into your hand, put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Whenever you cast a Lesson, Saga, or Shrine spell, put a +1/+1 on another target creature you control. So you cannot buff this man. You can only get value when he enters. I guess actually, no, you do get value when you cast those Legend, Sagas, or Shrines. But here's the thing. If you're looking at a card, and it's got 3 different ideas of what you're supposed to do with it, it's unfocused. And that means if you're trying to build the deck and you're trying to build around legends, sagas, and shrines, it's just messy. You need to just pick one. But if you pick one, what's the point of picking this commander who gives you the option to do 3 things? And those 3 things aren't even that good. I'll say he's not expensive. So 4 mana for a 2/4 in doing this isn't bad, but I think you would just put him in the 99 of your Lessons deck, or the 99 of your Sagas deck, or the 99 of your Shrine deck. Probably Shrine deck. It's probably Shrine decks. Where are you, Hama? Hama, the Bloodbender. When it enters, target opponent mills 3 cards, exile up to 1 non-land creature card. Non-creature Exile up to one non-creature, non-land card from that player's graveyard. For as long as you control Hama, you can cast the exiled card during your turn by waterbending X rather than paying its mana cost. X is its mana value. For 5 mana, this isn't good enough. This is not good enough for 5 mana because it's only an Enters ability and then a little card thievery. Put it into the 99 of Gonti, similar to Azula. Like, these two are kind of both. You know what, actually? And she's also 5 mana. So you know what? Hey, shout out to evil women who are Dimir and cost 5 mana. Gotta be one of my least favorite genders. That's rough, buddy. I can't really say that that's better than Azula and Dimir. At least as, you know what? Fudge it. At least Azula gives you mana to cast it. You know whose deck probably has better cards for whatever strategy you're running? Your deck. Thievery is fine. I think it's a fine strategy. I think it's funny to play buffalo sauce on my fingers. Give me your cards. Let me touch them. It's never really all that good because, yeah, like you're playing against 3 people who built 3 different decks. So you either pick one person to bully and touch all of their cards with your Buffalo Wild Wings fingers, or you have a weird board state that isn't focused and doesn't do anything. In your mind, you're telling yourself, like, I am going to steal the best card from everyone, and I'm going to have everyone's best card, but everyone's best card probably is the best card in their deck for their thing, not the best card just in general, just the flashiest card. So, yeah, I'm sorry. That's rough, buddy. And she's probably worse than Azula. And I didn't have a crush on her when I was a child, so no nostalgia. She doesn't get any help there because she scared me. Hey, Bae. Spirit of Balance. Whenever Hei-Bei enters or attacks, you can sacrifice another creature or artifact. If you do, put 2 +1/+1 counters on Hei-Bei. Whenever Hei-Bei leaves the battlefield, put its counters on target creature you control. Hey-Bei. It's Orzhov Aristocrats, and it has a nice little protection for when Hei-Bei leaves the battlefield, so it can die, it can be exiled. However it leaves, you're moving its counters to someone else. I think that's pretty good. I like that it's Orzhov because it's a panda, and I think that's funny, and I think that's cute, and I think that's I think that's probably the best of Bison. I don't know if I'd quite put it in Avatar state. Would I? I can put that up in Avatar state. Is it better or worse than any other Orzhov Aristocrats commander strategies? I guess it does have the restriction that you have to have it attack every turn. So yeah, maybe it's not like the best Orzhov Aristocrats thing, but it's Orzhov Aristocrats, and it's pretty decent at it. You build up a big old bear that you hit people with. If it dies, it's not that big of a deal. Yeah, I don't know. I think I'll put it in the Avatar state. It's decent enough. You could build a nice little deck around that. Uncle Iroh of the Grand Lotus. Actually, this is just Iroh Grand Lotus, not Uncle Iroh Grand Lotus. It's got Firebending too, and whenever it's got Firebending too, and during your turn, each non-lesson instant and sorcery card in your graveyard has flashback. Flashback cost is equal to that card's mana value, and during your turn, each lesson card in your graveyard has flashback 1. Are lessons great? No, but are the Avatar lessons better than the Strixhaven's lessons? Yes. So I'll put him up in Kyoshi approved. I think he's very, very solid. I mean, Underworld Breach makes you sacrifice it at the end of turn to give things an escape cost. This is just flashback as long as dude's hanging out. And you can flashback, you can attack once, pay 2 lessons that are instants during combat. Yeah, 5 mana's kind of a lot, but you got green, so he's coming out turn 3 or 4 probably, depending on how much ramp you're lucky enough to hit. And it's generic 1 cost, yeah, so you can actually make them cost 0 if you have like Goblin and Archomancer. Just put him next to Goblin and Archomancer, and suddenly those lesson cards are free. If not, you can just get another non-lesson. Like, I don't even necessarily think you have to run lessons to make this good. Obviously you should, but even if it was just instants and sorceries during your turn, have flashback. That's pretty good. That's not bad. Giving extra support to lessons is gonna push it up. I think I'll, you know what? Uncle Iroh, go between Zuko and Azula to stop them from fighting. I think that's probably best. Iroh, Tea-Master. I heard you like Zedru. When Iroh enters, create a food token at the beginning of combat. On your turn, you can have target opponent gain control of target permanent you control. When you do, you make a 1/1 white ally token and put a +1/+1 counter on that token for each permanent you own, but you don't control. You're not giving people tea, you're giving people poison. It's Zedru, but it doesn't have blue, and it comes out faster. That's pretty good. Like, I think it's kind of a wash between this and Zedru. I guess let me look at Zedru one more time. Let me exactly remember what Zedru does so that I'm not totally lying here. He could also just be a solid addition to the 99 of a Zedru deck. Yeah, okay. Yeah. So Zedru also has to pay a bunch of mana every time you want to do that. I think he could be solid in the 99 of his Zedru deck. You could also just run him. Most of the bad shit you want to give away is in red or white anyway. So, yeah, I think Iroh Tea-Master is also very solid. 3 mana commander. You get him out early. You get your strategy going fast. I quite like it. Like I said, we're going to get a lot of good commanders. There's a lot of good commanders in this set. It just had to take us into the multicolored ones to start getting there. Speaking of, Jet sucks. When he enters, he deals damage equal to the number of creatures you control to target creature and opponent controls. And when he dies, you put a +1/+1 counter on each of up to 2 target creatures. Sorry, I was wrong. That's rough, buddy. For 5 mana? Are you kidding me? Who's running this? Who likes Jet that much that they're running this guy as their commander to damage a creature? Look, you could get Repercussion on board. If you've got Repercussion on board before he comes out, okay. You kind of need that, though. You kind of need Repercussion, City on Fire, Soul Theme, Mayhem Dominance. You need a lot of damage multipliers, and then you can just have Jet come out and kill someone as he comes out. That's a whole lot of if. No, Repercussion's the only card. No, unless you have Repercussion, that's rough, buddy. Enlightened Tutor. 99. He can go in the 99 because Enlightened Tutor could get you... Wait, could Enlightened Tutor isn't... Yeah, that's what I thought. He can go in the 99 because Enlightened Tutor could get you Repercussion so that when he comes out, he does damage to a creature, and then that does damage to the creature's controller. But you're barely escaping. You're barely escaping. That's rough, buddy. You wanted to be That's Rough, Buddy so bad. Katara the Fearless. I heard you like allies. Kindred decks are good. Ally Kindred is good, especially now because there's so many allies with so many triggered abilities. I can't even take the time to go into how many allies are in Bant that have triggered abilities. Hey, look, it's Aang. He's got a triggered ability. He's Bant, hanging out down here. What if it happened twice? Wouldn't that be better? Yeah. Ladies, you know what you need, and so does he, but does it happen? No. What we really need is an ally Panharmonicon. A what? Yeah, and then you get Panharmonicon out, and then all these ETVs double up. A lot of allies are dumb little wimps, right? Yeah, a lot of these allies are dumb little wimps. So you can get Delny, Streetwise, yeah. So you can get Delny, Streetwise Lookout, and then double and double and double and double. Or just an additional time, sorry. Not double, just an additional time. I know that is different. Yeah. No, obviously, that's really, really good. I don't even really need to talk about how that's good. I remember when this was spoiled when I was at San Diego Comic-Con, and this was like the bonus card. People waited for like 6 hours, and I was just like, I don't know, are allies that good? And like now, obviously, half the cards in this set are allies, and they're pretty good. Hey, even these 99 ones, even these 99 allies. Ally. Is this an ally? I can't read it. It's too small. But yeah, allies. Good. Speaking of Katara, Water Tribe's Hope. Let's see. Let's read it. When she enters, you make a 1/1 white ally creature token. She's got Vigilance and Waterbend X. Creatures you control have base power, toughness XX until end of turn. X can't be 0. Activate only during your turn. Remember all these guys I said, hey, this would be better as in the 99 of a waterbending deck. This would be better in the 99 of a waterbending deck. This is the waterbending commander. I think this is probably the waterbending commander. It makes you an ally that you can start tapping for waterbending. I do think 5 mana is a little spendy for this, especially in Azorius, which isn't really the best ramping color. So I'm going to put her down in Avatar state instead of Kiyoshi approved. But you could absolutely make a solid deck out of this. I think I'll put her here. Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah. There's more that could be done, but it's pretty good. I just wish it was a little cheaper. The Lion Turtle. It's got Vigilance and Reach. When the Lion Turtle enters, you gain 3 life. It can't attack or block unless there are 3 or more lesson cards in your graveyard, and you can tap it to add 1 mana of any color. If it cost 2 mana instead of 1 mana, I would put it up in Bison. But that restriction that it can't really do any attacking or blocking until there are 3 or more lesson cards in your graveyard means that it isn't just a dork in the command zone. I love a dork in the command zone. Ruby Daring Tracker is one of my favorite decks that I play. But 3 mana for a dork in the command zone is a little much when it also wants to attack but can't and kind of forces you to build around lessons, which again have gotten a lot better because of this set. You know what? Okay, here. I can put it at low Bison. I could see you building this if you really love the Lion Turtle. I love the art there. The art there is very, very nice. I could see that just making you want to build this. There are so many better Simic commanders, though. There are probably better Simic commanders that, I don't know, just ramp you a little bit, because that seems to be the appeal of this, is that it ramps you, and it's a pretty big body for 3 mana. But it can't do anything until there are 3 or more lesser cards in your graveyard, which means 3 mana for its cost. No, it's going in the 99. It's going in the 99. It might go high in the 99, but it's going in the 99 because I just realized the 3 mana is not its cost for 3/6, because its cost for a 3/6 is 3 mana and you get 3 lessons. So you either cast 3 lessons or find a way to discard them. Blue's got some discard. That could happen. I'm not saying it couldn't. But yeah, no, I don't think that's all that great. I think that's for the 99 of a lessons deck. Long Fang. Whenever another creature you control or land you control is put into the graveyard from the battlefield, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. Hey, would you look at that? It's an earthbending commander that I think's pretty good. Basically, I think what you should do with this is try and build as much earthbending as you can so your lands are swinging in, they go to the graveyard, and then they come back, and then you still get to put a +1/+1 on target creature you control. Gitrog, another fantastic thing you could put in this deck, or you could put him in the 99, or you could put him in the 99 of your Gitrog deck. Is he necessarily the best Aristocrats commander? No, but Golgari, he does offer a nice little bit of value for something you should probably want to do. There's also no limit on it. It's not once per turn. It's not when one or more creatures or lands are put into your graveyard. It's every time. So if there's some sort of board wipe where you can give him evasion, you can make him very, very, very big. If there is land destruction, you can make him very, very, very big. Scape Shift is a card that's fantastic. I think you could definitely make a decent deck out of this, so I'll put him up in the Avatar state, probably around there. Ozai, the Phoenix King. He's a little expensive at 6 mana, but you get 4 of that back because he's got Trample, Firebending 4, and Haste. If you lose unspent mana, that mana becomes red instead. Ozai is flying indestructible as long as you have 6 or more unspent mana, and he's a 7/7. So, yeah, the Trample, the Haste, the flying eventually, once you get a bunch of unspent mana and you don't lose your spent mana, I think this is a very clear Kiyoshi approved thing to do. Get a bunch of treasures to get them out faster, because yeah, 6 mana is kind of a lot, but you can get there, especially if you're doing a bunch of firebending. No, actually not if you're doing a bunch of firebending, because the firebending will go away. But yeah, run this dude. Run this dude. I think he could run stuff over. Yeah, run X spells with it. Oh, fantastic idea, fan of things. Yeah, Storm King's Thunder, Crackle with Power would go pretty goddamn hard. You can just hold those in your hand until you're ready to pop off. Meanwhile, you're swinging in with a 7/7 indestructible trample flying haste creature. Holy crap. Yeah, this is scary shit. This is scary shit. I don't know that he should be next to Azula. Here, Iroh, you go between Azula and her dad, and Hyro is here mediating the Fire Nation royalty, just being like, hey everyone, chill. Yeah, I'm good with that. I'm good with that. Professor J, anthropologist. It's bad looting. Tap it to discard a card, then draw a card, and you can sacrifice it to return target instant or sorcery card from your graveyard to your hand. Activate it only on your turn. Can I get a that's rough, buddy? Looting is fun. I really like looting. This is a bad looting card. Looting should, when you're looting and you want to do like looting strategies, you should always draw the card first and then discard the card. Oh, also known as rummaging, of course. Also known as rummaging. Actually, I think it's rummaging when you discard first. It's looting when you draw first, right? Is that what I'm remembering? I think that's it. There's a lot of terms in Magic the Gathering. Bear with me. Okay, sorry. Not a looter. It's a rummager. Rummaging is a lot worse than looting. Not in the real world, but yeah, this one's just kind of stinky. I don't even know how to describe how stinky it is because I don't know how to describe what could be good about it. I guess you can repeatedly cast an instant or sorcery from your graveyard by returning it to your hand. But there's better ways to do that. There's better ways to do that in Izzet. Yeah. Stinky. Stinky. Speaking of looting and rummaging, Sokka. Bold Boomeranger. When he enters, you can discard up to 2 cards, then draw that many cards. Whenever you cast an artifact or lesson spell, put a +1/+1 counter onto Sokka. It's kind of prowess, specifically for lessons and artifacts, which isn't what prowess is, but, you know, discarding's fun. I think this is more of a goes in the 99 of your discard deck. Goes in the 99 of something where you actually get a lot of value from discarding, so that you discard and then you draw cards, and then, I guess, artifacts and lessons. Actually, I don't even know. Because if you put them in the 99 of that deck, you would want to not focus on lessons or artifacts, so Sokka just stays a 1/1. And really, you're just paying 2 mana for that first effect. Is this a that's rough, buddy? No. Actually, I think it's Bison. I think it's Bison because effectively it's is it Spellslinger and just restricting you to lessons or doing artifact Spellslinger, which is slightly different. Yeah, okay. I think 99 of Joyra. 99 of Joyra Weatherlight Captain. That's the right Joyra. I always forget the sub names, yeah. 99 of Joyra Weatherlight Captain, I think. But you could also just take your Joyra Weatherlight Captain build if you've scared the shit out of people at your local game store with it and put Sokka in the command zone and they'll calm down a little bit. Like a lot of these, like, remember this guy's just Urza laundering. This is Joyra Weatherlight Captain laundering. And I don't necessarily know that you need to launder that. It's a great card, and I've seen people pop off with it. My girlfriend pops off with it all the time. It's her favorite deck, and it's fucking disgusting, frankly. But I think that my opinion of Joyra Weatherlight Captain is very skewed because I've been stomped by it so many times. So, yeah, I don't know. I think it's fine. We'll call it Bison for Joyra laundering. Sokka, lateral strategist. Wow, what a lateral move. Whenever he attacks with at least one other creature, you draw a card. You can draw at most one more card per turn. 99. Unless you're getting multiple combats. In Azorius, that's hard. You want red for that. Huh. We've got Izzet Sokka. We've got Azorius Sokka. If only we had Jeskai Sokka. Oops. Maybe he's number one so far? Maybe. He might be. Sokka, Tenacious Tactician. He's got that Tenacious T. He's got Menace, Prowess, and other allies you control have Menace and Prowess. And whenever you cast a non-creature spell, create a 1/1 white ally token. Oh my god, I forgot the name of it. Monastery Mentor, right? No. Oh, yes, Monastery Mentor. That's just not the art I'm familiar with. So basically this is Monastery Mentor, except better, because it also gives everything Menace, and it's in the command zone, and it's Jeskai. Pretty disgusting. Pretty disgusting to storm off with this and cast a ton of instances. Pretty disgusting to storm off with this. Cast a ton of instants and sorceries. Find a way to give your creatures haste. And then you just got such a crazy army of prowessed up creatures. You don't need to run another creature card in the deck. This could be your only creature card. And then you just have cantrips and storm. And you just storm off. There's 132 allies in Jeskai. Yeah. Okay, card. Thank you again for the stats. There's 132 allies in Jeskai, so if you do want to run other allies and give them Menace and Prowess, sure. Yeah, that's another great way to build it. Or you could just get a 67 one-drop spells and pop off. I think this is number one so far. I think this is the number one Kyoshi approved. Jeskai Spellslinger is already a fantastic archetype. If you just pick any Jeskai card, put it in your command zone, and run a Spellslinger setup, you're doing better than 90% of decks. So having a really, really good one is fantastic. Kyoshi approved, absolutely. I think it's the number one. I think it's the number one with a gun. Suki, Kyoshi Warrior. Okay, Suki, I love you, babe. So she's got to be high. Suki's power is equal to the number of creatures you control. Whenever Suki attacks, create a 1/1 white ally creature token that's tapped and attacking Bison. Selesny is good at making creature tokens. You can have a lot of creatures. She'll make you more creatures. Oh, fudge. Hold on. I forget card names, so I have to look them up. But I know who I'm thinking of. They're just Selesnya. There's so many Selesnya commanders like that. I don't even like specifically this one. Like Imara Honda of the Accord is kind of similar, and you just make a huge wide board. But who am I thinking of? Where are you, girl? Oh, you're pretty low. You're not very popular at all. You're not popular at all? Okay, maybe it's actually trash if it's this unpopular. Oh my god, what's your name? Queen All in All of the Rudark. That's a very popular Pauper commander. Which actually, Suki could be a Pauper commander too. Power and toughness are equal to the creatures you control, and whenever one or more creature tokens would be under your control, you make that many one white creature tokens. So make those two friends. Get Amara, Honda of the Accord out there. And yeah, Selesnya can make a bunch of creature tokens. I think this can be very, very solid. Actually, maybe Avatar State. Maybe Avatar State. You know what? Like I said, some cards are gonna get buffs just because I like the character. I like Suki, so yeah, she's up there. Avatar was formative for Phil in finding competent women who will boss him around. So, go Suki. Thank you for teaching Sokka how to drink respect women juice, and for teaching baby Phil how to drink respect women juice. Toph, hard-headed teacher. Whenever Toph enters, you can discard a card. If you do, return target instant or sorcery card from your graveyard to your hand. Whenever you cast a spell, Earthbend 1. If that spell is a lesson, put an additional +1/+1 counter on that land. Lessons. There's a lot of them. They're better now. They're not all garbage. Oh, please tell me this isn't important. Nope, it's not important. Lessons. There's a lot of them and they don't suck now. But if you want to run a lesson commander, he's here. Why don't you want blue mana? Could you build a decent Gruul lesson commander? Sure. I just don't know why you would. This is the lesson commander. Or this is the lesson commander. Up here. Toph. Could be fun. Focus more on earthbending. I'll probably focus more on green stuff, but yeah, this is not the Toph. If you love Toph, this is also not the Toph you want to build. If you love lessons, it's not the lesson commander you want to build. If you love Toph, it's not the Toph you want to build. This is the Toph you want to build. Right up here, Toph, first metal bender. Non-token artifacts are lands. In addition to their other types, at the beginning of your end step, earthbend 2. Making artifacts lands is busted and silly, and earthbending those artifacts so when they die, they come back to the battlefield makes so much stuff. Like, I don't know what it does. I'm going to be honest. This is one of those things where it's like, I've seen the YouTube shorts that explain things for like 3 minutes of why this is busted. And like, if I'm sitting at the table with the Toph Metalbender player, okay, I'm the earthbender who doesn't understand metal bending though. I'm that earthbender. I'm the one who can't figure that out and is just like, I'm so happy for you. I'm so happy for you. Command Sphere stocks up. Yep. Beautiful. Yeah, she's incredibly solid. For 4 mana with green in the command for 4 mana with green in the color identity, so she's coming out fast and you're getting your plan started right away. It's also actually wait, it's maybe not as land heavy of a deck since you're going to make your artifacts lands. They don't gain the ability to tap for mana. That's rough, buddy. Just kidding. No, she's fantastic. Actually, I think I would say I like Boomy more. Yeah, actually, you know what? Since I don't get it, we'll put it down here. But this is me admitting that this is a skill issue. I understand that she's Kyoshi approved. I ain't reading all that. Uncle Iroh, lesson spells you cast cost 1 less to cast, and he's got Firebending 1. He costs 3 mana for a 4/2. If you like lessons in Uncle Iroh, run this. Why do you hate blue mana? 99, because actually he goes in the 99 of himself. Yeah, we gotta go faster because it's been 2 hours of recording this, and I have no idea how long this video is going to be. So, Zhao, Ruthless Admiral. Firebending 2, whenever you sacrifice another permanent creatures you control, get +1/+0 until end of turn. It's Rakdos Aristocrats. It doesn't give you the sack outlet, though. So that's for the 99. That's for the streets. That's for the 99. If it gave you the sack outlet, yeah. But I wouldn't. I wouldn't do that. I would say, boy, I just crashed hard. If it gave you the sack outlet, I would maybe put it up to Bison, but it doesn't have a sack outlet, so you've got to find one. And the payoff for it isn't all that great. Yeah. Hang out in the 99. Zuko, conflicted. I'm conflicted about where to put this one. Not really. At the beginning of your main phase, choose one that hasn't been chosen, draw a card, put a +1/+1 counter on Zuko, add a red mana, or then exile him and return him to the battlefield under opponent's control. So he's going to switch sides. He only costs 2 mana. You get to draw a card, you get to lose 2 life. I think this is for the 99. I think this is for the 99, and specifically for something where you kind of want to lose the life. The other extra stuff, getting a red mana, drawing a card, putting a +1/+1 counter on him, isn't really worth giving him over to an opponent. So, like, yeah, unless you're planning to kill him. The flavor is very good. Yeah, I agree, fan of things. The flavor is really good. But put him in like a Xancha thing, you know, where your goal is to just share stuff, or like Deadpool likes to share stuff. You could just do that. If you're just looking to run shares stuff, except this isn't like a shares bad stuff. This is pretty decent, and you're just handing it off to someone else. And I'm guessing the pod will not hand it back to you. You've got to run it with cards that return permanents. Isn't there a land that does that? Someone's going to point that out. As a commander, you can send him to the command zone instead of going to an opponent. Oh, really? Does he change zones, though? Because he's still on the battlefield. He's just not on yours. Oh, it says exile Zuko first. Okay, yeah. Technically, you can put him in the command zone instead of just putting him in your hand. Thank you, card, for pointing that out. Technically, you can put him in the command zone instead of giving him to an opponent. Thank you, card, for pointing that out. But yeah, good flavor, not the best card. And finally, we get to end with everyone's favorite Avatar character, the Walls of Ba Sing Se. It's a wall. It's a 0/30. It gives other permanents you control indestructible, and it has Defender. If only, yeah, if only we had some sort of drill from the Fire Nation. So yeah, if you remember, a fan of things just reminded me, this gets rid of indestructible. This is a wall. It goes in Arcades. That's what it does. You know what? So actually, yep, Arcades is one of the most popular commanders. It can go in the 99. 8 mana for that is a lot. Honestly, it probably runs pretty well in, like, I was talking about this boy up here just being artifacts and being run kind of colorless. If you're just running this boy and, if you're just running this boy and you get a bunch of artifact discounts, that 8 mana comes down, and yeah, you can have all of your stuff be indestructible. If you're running an artifact deck, I could see this being a pretty solid way to get everything indestructible. As a commander, pretty bad, because it's colorless, and I don't know that there is a colorless card that lets you hit stuff with your butts. I don't think there is. I think that's all mana that has colors. So that will do it for this tier list of Avatar cards. Wow, we've got so many beautiful cards and so many Kyoshi approved commanders. 99 is the most popular zone, but I think it's interesting to note the second most popular zone is Kyoshi approved, and I think I was being pretty fair with these. I mean, maybe I'd move these two down to Avatar state, but I don't think I would. I think I like them where they're at. They have their issues, but yeah, I mean, I think this top row, especially of the Kyoshi approved, are all fantastic commanders that you could have a very fun time with. These two are a little situational, but these Avatar state commanders are sleepers that people won't blow up, except for the one that's here because it specifically isn't a sleeper and would scare the shit out of people. These Bisons are pretty fun. And the 99, like, these aren't, I want to be clear, the 99 are not bad cards by any measure. I only think that That's Rough Buddies are kind of bad cards. The 99 would be solid in the 99 of other decks. So, I hope you're excited for the Avatar set. I know I am. I hope you have a lot of fun playing the Avatar set. Let me know if there's something I missed on some of these cards. If I missed something up here that should be down here. If I missed something down here that should be up there. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye. Hey, stream, everybody. We just recorded a video together, so thank you, Fan of Things, and thank you, Card, for recording that video with me. I'm going to take a short break, and then we'll be back with some Pokemon. Bye-bye.